Hey, come on. Come on. Hey. What? Here we go, here we go, here we go now. Hey. Let's chit chat, this is the show now. Come on. Bad black mama's gonna let you know now. Hey. Here we go, here we go, here we go now. Come on. Let's chit chat, let's chit chat, hey. Let's chit chat, sis. Hey, what's up? Let's chit chat, let's chit chat, let's chit chat, sis. Hey.
Hello, this is my family, my niece and my nephew. And this topic today is going to be it's going to be a good one because I think it has lots of different meanings. This topic came from Jaslyn and her husband, and I'm just here just to be here because, like, I'm old. So I'm putting my disclaimer. I'm old. I don't know about anybody using their passport abilities to go find somebody somewhere else because I don't know. When I was growing up, it was different. Like, if you found somebody in a different state, you was doing something extra. You know what I mean? Like, I'm telling you, you found somebody in a
That's
different
true.
state.
That's true, though.
Really, like if I didn't marry nobody in my neighborhood, so I found somebody out of the state. So you was real special because you got outside of your four walls. You see what I'm saying? So, but now I don't know. So one of y'all start this and tell us what is the backstory on passport bros.
You want me to go first? Because I was one that came up with, the topic because it's everywhere. You can't go anywhere online without seeing this. And then, in our situation, we are considered, the interracial couple. It gets mixed in it. So I just started, I went into the deep web and I ended up it was a million routes. This is like, that passport bros, you put that in any type of social media and you're going to see so many different definitions and what it means. So we were just, even me and CG have different definitions of what it means. He has a different angle than I do.
Okay.
I saw it as
can't wait to
something
hear it.
to me, when I heard it, I was like, oh, this is disrespectful as hell. Because it was just, I saw a bunch of men saying, well, if you can't get your shit together in America, I'll just go to another country and pay somebody or, be with a woman that's in a sense, poorer, and she's just gonna listen because all I have to offer her is good old America, United States. And I was like, oh my God. Even people, when I moved to Virginia and I would tell them I was Dominican, they would always be like, oh, well, we know, oh man, I love those Dominican women because they cook and clean and what else. And I was like, oh crap, like that's what I knew what passport bros was. But the more I looked into it, I was like, oh, this expands into so much more. Even CG, you tell him what you had because he had something completely different.
Man.
Well, let me say this before you start, CG. I told Jaslyn this. I was at a meeting. I don't want to talk about what meeting I was at, but I was at a meeting, and it's a meeting with Black women, okay? It was a large forum, and this came up. Yeah. And I was like, oh, I guess I'm not just, I'm really like slow to this. So go ahead, CG. But it came up in a large forum.
Man, see, there's so many things. I guess I could say it like this. This is a term for a man who does not want to date an American woman anymore, or what they consider Western culture, and they want to go elsewhere. That's the most basic thing I can say. We can add everything else to it, whether it's that they're just wanting to have easy access to sex overseas, or if they want to, get married and have kids. I think there's a lot of things that we can add into it once we have like the actual face of it. But for the most part, at the bottom of it, it's like just men who are like, you know what, we're done dating Western women. We're gonna go and date women overseas, whether it's in DR, Africa, South America. They're staying away from the UK. They're staying away from America, Canada. They want no parts of it. So I think that's, and yeah, they don't want no part, like UK, Canada, Australia. They don't want any of them. They're trying to go for, I guess you could say it's kind of more third world countries. For, like I said, for what their motivation is, I don't know. I'm not a passport bro. But for the most part, my understanding is that they don't want to date Western women.
I'm old and I'm old fashioned. Let me just say this much. If you're looking for ass is available anywhere. I know plenty of people that you ain't got to pay them, and they down for the call. Really? And so are you looking for a submissive person that is because let me say, when I was in that forum, I did see people just say some really off the cuff stuff like, I ain't, there's some BS or whatever. But I think that making that judgment that Western women are, I guess they are defiant, they're willful, and they are less to indulge. I think that you're just in the wrong circle. You know what I mean? Maybe you need to take your airline miles and go to another state and start there, because if you're just talking to everybody on the internet or whatever, I mean, you're going to get what you're going to get. Think about it. It is what it is. So when you go over there, how about you go to the wrong place and don't come back?
Exactly. I was telling Fiji that because one of the segues that it went into was, what if you're a person that just wants to meet somebody from another country and date and stay? When these guys are making fun of essentially Western and specifically a lot of the times Black women, they're going, ha ha, you guys are not good. So I'm going to go into another country and get another woman. I'm like, how do you know what a good woman is in another country? How do you know how to get
right?
Can you talk to a good woman's father? We have a lot of different traditions that you can't just come up and date me. You don't have to, somebody's answering for me. So it's like.
So you come in there trying to run rank on somebody and they have cultural standards that they follow, and you come in there with that BS and talk about because you think you're going to snatch their daughter up and make her do what you want and make her almost like enslaved, then you got a wrong perspective. Because even let's even take it to another level. Go somewhere in another country and pick up with this beautiful woman. Okay, she got high standards too. How do you think she got that way? You see what I'm saying? She got high standards too. Like, I don't know. You just looking for like a different tone of voice with a different ass. I mean, I don't know, but it just sounds crazy. It sounds crazy to me. Like, really.
I think it also has to deal with a lot of like the dating culture. Like a lot of stuff that we normalize here isn't necessarily. I think like I said, I don't know the whole,
But
motivation behind it because it just sounds like, I mean, when you take the top off and it's like, yo, I just want to date these women because they're not American women, then it does start to sound like the same way black men and black women sound when they're like, I want to date white people because I don't like black people. So there's got to definitely be a lot more substance behind it. And I think a lot of times when people see like, or they even have a conversation with a person like me who has dated outside my culture, outside my race, they look at it as like, I have some type of motivation, that there's some type of hatred behind it. I don't like black women. And it's like, no, I'm in close proximity to a lot of these cultures, people. So I'm actually like comfortable around here. Like, I can socialize in these circles. You can't just say one day, yo, I don't want to date these people. I don't want to date my own people. And then like, oh, you're just going to automatically slide into somebody else's culture or race. And like, yeah,
exactly.
You're completely compatible. Oh, and not only that, but also abandon thing. I'm segueing to the whole, interracial dating, but sorry. But yeah, it's not as easy. Just, jumping out of yours and into somebody else's, it's not as easy. Everybody else has their own cultural standards, as well when it comes to dating and their own practices. One thing I did notice a lot of like the commentary around it is like, they are also saying, don't bring them back to the United States. They're saying, don't bring them back to the United States because they don't want the influence of other women on the women that they're dating. Which, to be honest, I mean, if your intention is to, date seriously in marriage and you're literally you're like, I want to get out of America. All right, cool. Go do your thing. But if you have to set up all these like safety nets, like you're probably already in some type of trouble. I mean, in the military, that's one thing that we had to talk about. Like, we have our guys in Okinawa and stuff, and a lot of guys would, in the military, I mean, this isn't new. They'll marry somebody overseas, bring them back, the whole family come back, and the next thing you know, they're robbing your pockets. You ain't got a house, nothing. So I think that's something that there's some safety. There's some safety issues that people need to talk about. I don't think it's it's nothing new. Women been doing this for a long time with their trips to Jamaica, Puerto Rico. We hear about this all. It's nothing new, man. I just kind of think at the same time to like politicize it so much to where it's like it's a nasty man who's gonna go over here and do like, man, come on now. A lot of people doing this now. If it is sex tourism, it's sex
doing it.
tourism. If it's
At one point, I said, go and give me a nice little African man. You know what I mean? Then I was like, okay, no, I talk too much. That ain't gonna work out. You know what I mean? So I mean, sometimes you everybody think about it. I don't know. I think thinking about it and doing it is two different things, and making a segment of women feel like they now don't meet the standard. You know what I mean? Because I got to go overseas to get this type of a woman.
Came up like Passport Bros. I think it came out of like a lot of men and women just arguing. Because when I was looking at it, I'm like, this is just like, it's just one big negative thing. It's the women basically telling the men, we're not going to change. Go get you a girl from another country that's poor, that's going to do everything you want him to. And then the men are like, you guys been doing. So it was just like Passport Bros. That's why I was like, that word is just a negative connotation. Because, you know, we do have people that leave the country, but those people, like CG said, they're not bringing those women back so they could just be around, you know, the Western women that they don't like. Those people go over there, they learn the culture, and they move. I have family members that are, you know, born in Dominican Republic and have moved to Amsterdam and other countries, and they've worked there and they've dated. So, and those people, you know, they're not back over here with their wives. They're out. So,
right. And that's okay. That's okay. If you want to do that, do that. You know what I mean? Take all your belongings and go with you. You know what I mean? And live your life. So I can, you know, I can agree with, you know, on a different scenery. Like if one of my children wanted to go overseas, I wouldn't like it. But, you know, if they wanted to live a different scene, that's a part of life. Live your life. Do whatever you want. I think it more go towards the dating scene. So y'all gotta tell me, y'all are younger than me. I haven't dated in a long time. And I know y'all are newlyweds, but y'all are younger than me and y'all hear more than me. What is wrong with the dating scene today?
Man, I'm gonna just tell you straight up.
Yeah.
For as a man, I can tell you this.
Be honest. Say it.
I don't have to.
Be honest and say it. It's cool.
It just sounds like if it's too many games. It's too many games. It's a lot of it moves really fast. I mean, you know, oh man,
I'm nice, CG.
I'm trying to tiptoe around this, but man, I'm gonna just say, I feel like a lot of times what you're working a lot harder as a man to get less than what men in the past got. And I think like as the economy changed and women entered the workforce, our standards as far as dating never really changed. Like what we even have all this pressure, you know, you got to be the provider, you got to be all this. And it's like, y'all's roles have changed. You don't really need us in that capacity anymore. But to be honest, we have to stay in this capacity. We have to, or otherwise we're not going to be looked at as like serious prospects. A lot of people, a lot of women still don't want the 50-50 stuff. You know, there's a lot of things that men are still pressured to do today that to be honest, the landscape has changed. Even with sex, like when I was a teenager, you won't just having sex with a girl after first date. Like you have the months. You're gonna put in months. You might put in months. I'm serious. Like you weren't just like, now I can get on the app. One day.
I want to hear this. You can do what?
I don't need to see, and we're seeing all this stuff with, you know, women saying you got wine and dine me, you got to do all this and that. And then we're seeing the other guys who are like, yo, I got a secret and I can show you that you ain't got to do none of this stuff to get these X, Y, and Z. So a lot of men are like, yo, why am I going to sit here and be lover boy and, you know, be romantic and all this stuff when this guy doesn't have to, and he's showing you that it's happening. Because remember, I mean, we've got our phones in front of our faces. We're seeing a lot of stuff. Like we can't sit here and pretend like there's a healthy dating scene in America right now. So I think that's probably, I think that's what it is. It's different. There's not a lot of patience. I mean, there's a lot of there's no patience. I think people
None.
It's a lot of difference when it comes to dating. I think that's why the Passport Bro stuff joins with that dating.
It's Passport girls too.
Well, you know,
but women have always done it. But that's what I'm saying though. Like we're talking about Passport Bros. There doesn't need to be a Passport girls because women have always like working class, even working class
They
women
call,
always.
they call them like
at-
city girls. That's the
Like-
passport girls equivalent. City girls. That's it. It's
Who-
like
I don't think.
So
I don't think
Sure.
working. Yeah, I don't think working class men have really ever like, yo, we're gonna go overseas to do that. Like, that hasn't been a working class man type of thing, going overseas to get laid. Like, that's really. I think
Yeah.
that's more recent. And a lot of the spaces that I'm seeing where they're talking about, these guys are like my age and older, holding up
Oh, okay.
passports. I'm like, what are you?
CG.
My thing is, I think some people are just wanting, like, they want old school dating rules or whatever, and they think they're gonna get it within other cultures. And you might, but I think
There's
don't know, man.
standards. There's standards that a lot of these guys don't. They think they're just gonna go and to a country and meet these beautiful girls and marry them. And I'm like, you can do that, but they're called prostitutes. You know, I showed you the video. These men will go to the. I showed on Kim a video of this guy that goes to Dominican Republic, and his caption was like, "Look at how easy it is in Dominican Republic. You think I'm gonna waste my time in the United States?" And he passed by the girl. This woman speaks no English, and he said, "Hey, mommy," and she said, "Give me your what's up." I'm Dominican, baby. I know what that means. That's so y'all can link up. It's a lot of the time so you can speak to her pimp and set up your meeting. So he's over here like, you see, you don't have to do nothing in Dominican Republic. And he's talking to her and she's like, see, what's up? Like, she even got impatient. It was like, now. And I'm like, this. And they come back and they tell you, boy, I go to the Dominican Republic and I was with 5 women and we was all having sex. And I'm like, so keep telling them how then you proceeded to pay. Because you're giving
going to the wrong street because there's plenty places they can get it. And he ain't even got to spend airfare. You know what I mean? So he's just going to the wrong places. But you know, I was just thinking when you're saying that, Jasmine, you know, I think that when we used to see like on, you know, because we wasn't doing on TV, people going to Korea and going to you know, these places and bringing these women back and making them wives, even Russia and different that stuff going on now. But it was always, you looked at that guy and was like, okay, because your standards looks a little challenged right there. I don't want to come out and say what they look like, but they look a little challenged. So I'm gonna go somewhere else and pick up a woman and bring her back and make it. And half the time it don't work out. You know what I mean? Because once you bring your ass to America, somebody is gonna help you get Americanized, and then all of your traditions is going out the window. I just remember when I was growing up, my father was the provider. You know what I mean? My mom didn't have to work, you know, but my mom went to school and stuff like that. Times have changed because not just culturally, but economically, it's not really feasible anymore. You know what I mean? Things are so astronomically high. Where how do you even live comfortably if you're living like that? You know what I mean? Now, don't get me wrong. We can't be in a relationship if I'm pulling all the way and you doing 20 hours a week and I do 70. You know what I mean? That's something different. But like, I think realistically, the people that want that kind of life is not really in touch with what it really calls for to have a relationship. So what are you looking for? An servant person that is going to be at your beck and call? That ain't gonna last for so long. Can we look at some facts and see how long this crap lasts, that they going somewhere, or maybe they missing, we don't know where they at now. It's a lot of people missing in the world, if y'all know it or not, a lot. So I don't know. It just seems like it's selfish motives, and there's also an underlying tone to be able to make women who are, I guess I ain't gonna say successful, women who are not, I guess, considered following the norm or doing what we past did or whatever, as something, as a way of being, you know, triggered or some type of disparaging behavior is going to come along with it. But let me say this much. If you, because you know, y'all got a son, if your son get to the age and come and tell you, Dad, Mom, I'm going to Cambodia. I'm just gonna say Cambodia. Now you know Cambodia is almost like a third world, you know what I mean, compared to the States. And because I can't deal with the women here. They're too opinionated, and you know what I mean, they want this, they want that, and they don't want to do their part. And I'm gonna go to Cambodia and get me a woman. I looked it up, and here they are on the internet. What y'all gonna tell them?
Man, I'm gonna tell him. I mean, this is my thing with and I'm gonna tell him, why you need to do all that. You don't know any Cambodians? Like, because that's the biggest misconception.
Here too, but go ahead.
Is that people come here and they want to get rid of their culture. I'm not a passport bro. I've never left this country. I mean, outside of, deployments, but I've always been able to speak with and, date people from other cultures, other countries. And when I've had to spend my holidays with these people, guess what? They are still practicing their culture. And then, in fact, they stay in tight knit communities, and it's very actually hard to get in. So I just don't think that like it's necessary. Like, and a lot of times, like I said, these people, they have this motivation. I would just tell my son, if your motivation is the women here, then I'm going to tell you that we need to get you around some other social circles. Because America is a huge melting pot. There's no reason why you need to fly 2,000 miles away, or however far it is. I'm telling you, you don't need to go over there.
For booty.
Use your resources. Find some of these people in the area. Go to a restaurant. Go meet them people there. Like, go find a way to be in close proximity to these people. You want to date some of these people, then you got to be in close proximity to them in some capacity. And then on top of that too, you got to actually know how to move around them. You got to know how to socialize with them. Like, you got to know, like, okay, if they like, there's things that might be funny in my culture that might be offensive in there. You need to know all this stuff if you want to have any type of success dating outside. So I'm gonna just tell them straight up, like, you get on that plane ticket if you want to, but you might get robbed on the way out there. Especially you out here, you want to fly somewhere. You don't know anybody. You don't know anybody who speaks the language. You don't know anybody who knows the towns. Like, what are you doing? That's what I'm
trying to find out.
Yeah, I would have to. Yeah, if my son pulled that mess, I'd be like, "What are you doing? Your mom's white, your dad's black, your stepmom's Dominican. You live in Orlando. You ain't got
the
no
best
excuse."
of all the
Now somebody like me. When I grew up in Fluvanna, I ain't gonna front. Like, I kind of like wanted to date around. I really did. And on top of that too, one of the biggest motivations for me. Actually, the motivation for me, I was related to everybody around the area.
Yeah,
I'm not trying to date my cousin.
That's dangerous.
Like, I'm not trying to date my
how big New York is, how big Dominican Republic is. I'm not dating you if you're Dominican, because you're my cousin. What's up anymore? I'm not doing it.
Yeah, and I had that problem. Philadelphia very large, so no cousins is near me. My cousin was in South Philly. I live in North Philly, but it's not gonna happen like that at all. My husband's is his little county up in Carolina. They like that too. You better watch out, because it seems like a whole lot of people was at that funeral. That's what I always say. A lot of people was at that funeral, and it looked like y'all got similarities. You know what I mean? But that's what happened in smaller places. I don't blame you. I don't blame you just dipping out because and then everybody know everybody's business. Isn't that the truth? Because yeah.
I would tell my son, don't drink the Kool-Aid though. I'd be like, look, you can't believe this. I don't know. I guess, and on top of that too, I've lived around a lot of different people. So like
because you was in the military. Didn't that just help you be able to meet other people and know how other people live? That makes a real huge difference.
On top of that too, if you're living in an area where it's like really mixed, you're going to you might end up finding somebody who either finds you attractive or you find somebody else attractive from a different culture or race, and that's just from going to school in a multicultural area where you have a bunch of different races, cultures. Like, you might just land into it just because that's what's around you.
Right.
I wouldn't tell my son to intentionally go seek it out because he doesn't like them. If he said, "Yo, I don't like these women, and that's why I got to go to them," I'm gonna be like, "So tell me what you like about those women." Because if you can't tell me anything you like about them people over there, then it's probably not going to work. And on top of that too, like, you got to think, like, sometimes people they aren't always, not everybody who dates, who's trying to look for somebody outside their culture, whatever, is looking for an escape. Sometimes they like what those other people have. So if you as an American man are like, "Yo, I'm going over here and I don't like the American women," or whatever, and you don't represent anything that makes you what you are, those people might not like you either, because maybe they are attracted to you for the same reason. They might want to see that XYZ culture coming out of you that they don't have. Like me and Jasmine, we're always sharing each other's culture with each other. Like, it's not a
that's so nice.
I I don't like being black, so I'm not gonna show it. No, we going to the cookout. Here's the foods. Let me put you through the ringer.
I seen Soul Food, Waiting to Exhale, Best Friend. I was like, what y'all racist?
No,
Soul Food is crazy.
That's not the way it's supposed to be. The whole point is not to make anybody feel bad or anything like that. But I looked up this little group on Facebook. Well, I'll just say this much. Start with yourself first. Start with yourself.
Yeah.
What I was seeing on there.
When you look this up.
Start with yourself. Start with coordinate the clothes, put that up together, look a little fresh, and start with yourself. You don't know your prospects can get broadened because what I see on there, you can't, that's why it's a tit for tat combative type of situation because I think you're dealing with some self-esteem issues and you're taking it out on this group of women. I don't know, but it just didn't seem like crazy, I saw the fine gray hair, whatever. I was like, ooh, like what's going on? Like I can't find nothing here. I'm looking for a Kardashian or something like that to come on. I can't find nothing. Okay, well, you got to look in the right places because you're going to get what you're looking for. Keep it up. You're going to get what you're looking for. When the whole house is robbed while you at work, don't be mad. You know what I mean? Don't be mad because, look, I'm going to look out for my own self at the end of the day. Not like I'm going to rob somebody, but I'm just saying, that's just a thing that happens to a lot of times where you bring these people into your surroundings and you don't really know anything about them. And the people that you kind of stepped all over, you put them in a classification that they were unworthy. So, I think the debate is because Black women feel, and y'all can jump in, Black women feel that we are like almost considered at the bottom of the food chain. You know what I mean? We are looked upon as mean, nasty, have bad attitudes, strong women, but in a negative persona, and that no one can get along with us because we're so arrogant and rude because we look down on everybody else because we have been through so much. Everybody is not like that. You see what I'm saying? Everybody's not like that. And
No,
when
and I wouldn't sit here and say that I don't believe that a lot of them feel that way. I know a lot of them feel that way. I know a lot of Black men, because that's all I can speak for. I know a lot of Black men, when they're dating interracially, especially when they come talk to me, when someone come and talk to me, and the moment I hear Black women insert the conversation, I'm automatically like trying to exit the conversation because it gets really uncomfortable. But yeah.
I don't know. I think if we can get,
I don't know. I think with a lot of these pages, and to be honest with you, I think a lot of these dating spaces and all this, I think we always go to the most extreme thing that we can talk about, and then we punch down on it from there, and then we create this profile of this person. Like I said, when even when we're talking about the guy who's going to be the passport, bro, we're sitting here like struggling back and forth between is he a this, is he a that, is he, like we're looking for deficiencies, and I'm like saying he could be this or that, and essentially like they're doing the same thing. A lot of them I guess a lot of them would be doing the same thing with women. I mean, it's unfortunate that in our dating spaces this is what it's really become, and it's I think that's something that we should probably talk about in itself, just the way, like, I guess the way we personify each other as Black men and women. It's really disgusting when you really look at it.
And it's so sad, isn't it? It's like, can't we just I don't know. I don't hear any other cultures going at each other like we go at each other. You know what I mean?
They don't.
I don't. Maybe I'm missing it. Am I missing it, y'all? Because I'm really.
No, I don't.
2 nights ago, we said this exact same sentence where it was like, I've never seen a community that attacks each other so much like this. I'm like, I mean, there's terrible people in my community, but that's something that I'm not going to bring to Jump Street. When I'm talking about my people, I'm not going to bring the worst of my people first, or try to convince other people that like my culture to be like, no, these people are terrible. Because there's times that you could be in a room and you're excited and talking about how much you do like Blacks, and they're, oh, you don't know about this or you don't know about that, and then it's like, well, crap.
That's what I'm saying. That's the, how are we getting here? Like this is to me, this is so outdated. Like, come on now, how do we get here and start going at each other's neck like this? This is just too much. Like, don't we want each other to have each other? Like, okay, it's almost like it's set up where I'm gonna try to keep y'all divided. You know what I mean? Because I don't know who else is involved in this, but I could tell you, Black women and Black men are at each other. You know what I mean? And it's it's even like when I post on the page. I'm gonna be real with you. When I post something about love Black men or something, like, I get minimal engagement. Like, yo, what is wrong here? Can't you just like it because you just like?
Because you know a Black guy, like you know a Black man that you might
Don't
like.
you know one like that you want the best for? Just one. I don't understand. Like,
it is always weird, and then it's like weird when you see like these people enter these spaces, and then they finally get that person, and they parade them around like it's a dog or something, and it's like, yo, like, or trying to take shots at the other. Oh, my girl do this, but these Black women won't do this, or my white man will do this, and these Black, like, it's so stupid. It's such a stupid conversation, because it's like, they're only talking to like one like part of the community, and it's insane. But I also I don't know, man, but at the same time, I can't also like say, yo, everything that manifests from our community, these conversations, I can't say they don't come from anywhere. We can't sit here and pretend like these conversations just came out of thin air. So I mean, I don't know what to do, to be honest with you. I don't know.
Well, I can say for us here, I think that we need to have like a forum one day, like have a couple Black men and plus us girls, you know what I mean? And talk about just because we can't fix the world. I ain't gonna even try to pretend this ain't no kumbaya stuff. That don't work.
Hell, this stuff isn't even my generation. This is generation after mine.
So that's what I'm saying. I may just try to pull that together. You know what I mean? With a couple people that have different perspectives. I mean, even down to my son, he got a whole different perspective. Like when I was just talking to him before I started, he had a whole different perspective. He said it just wears him out. When he said that just kind of struck a note with me. He said it wears him out how Black men and Black women are always at each other like that. And he just gets tired of it. And that's why he can see how somebody can go find somebody in another country somewhere. Mm-hmm. So it wasn't like he was putting a Black woman down. He was just saying that he doesn't like the conflict that happens. So in order to move himself from the situation, he can see himself going somewhere else. And that to me is disturbing, because isn't it the goal for us to be as one and procreate and all that kind of stuff like that? Things like this prohibits it. You see what I'm saying? It prohibits. So I don't know. We need some better understanding. And if you don't like something I do, be open to me saying the things I don't like either. You know what I mean? And not being in a sense of being hateful to each other, but being able to clarify why I don't like something or why you don't like something. But now we're in the social media, digital AI age or whatever. Everything else is speaking for us. You know what I mean? Just like this, everybody is speaking for us. So, that's my thoughts on it. But y'all let's feel the same way. Jasmine, what's your final thoughts?
Well, I
think
the world is hateful enough. When I was looking this up, I mean, like I told you, I focused mostly on the negative part because there was a lot of stuff I wanted to address. But please don't keep entertaining this. Like if you are in the dating scene, because it's happened to me, and you meet somebody that seems to compliment you and thinks you're pretty and all this stuff, but happens to follow it with because Black women or because this woman. And if you identify, or even if you don't identify with that, don't entertain it. It's enough. Like, we don't need to keep negative bounding. Like you said, this fight is something it's so deep that you guys might not be able to fix it. But
it's
you
just
can at least
layer.
make sure your circle understands. The circle understands, then you guys have less conflicts. If all your little circles start understanding, one big old circle.
Mm-hmm.
That negative bonding is not cute.
Yeah, I saw this post about how women want they have the type of men that their dads and their grandfathers were, but we're not willing to accept the misbehaviors that they were doing that was previously done. Ooh, that's really like, that's like, what are you saying? But if someone could
I
put a
know
post out there like that, that's a little alarming.
it's always weird. It's always weird when I hear this because I'm like, y'all, for a working class man, like it just sounds like it's always like your life must be heaven because you're a man. And it's like, yo, like
Oh,
working class men don't have no power. So when you're over here saying like, oh, you were in the kitchen and it was so miserable at the kitchen, like that grandfather was at the factory. You think that like my grandfather died young.
exactly.
He wasn't old, like he wasn't old, I mean, his body, from carpentries, he was done. Like a lot of men put their bodies through stuff. You think these men wouldn't like to have spend some time with their kids at the house? So when I hear these things, I'm like, y'all just think it's always rainbows on one side when it's really not. We're both in this. We're both in this. We're both
We're
trying to,
both in this. That's a good.
like we're both in
We're
this.
both in it.
Like,
Really,
yeah.
like back in the day, like my grandparents, my grandfather worked in this meat factory, like pulling and lugging heavy half of cows and whatever, and he was strong as an ox while my grandma was doing days work. You know what I mean? Like at some point, who would have signed up for that?
Like yeah. No, I agree. And it's,
I don't
man,
know. It just sounds to me like a lot of selfish motives are going on. Like what?
it's a lot of it's ugly. And I think a lot of black men aren't ready to hear this, but the way a lot of people talk about black women, the same way they talk about us and the way they look at us. So when you're out here dating in another culture or another race, guess what? You got all that behind you too. So you better be carrying that real strong. Like if you think you're gonna be, going to somebody else's culture, and sometimes we have to overcome the things that we aren't even part of.
Yeah. So while you knocking down your own, you go ahead and hop over there and see where you gonna be getting knocked down, because you at the bottom of the food chain over there too.
Or you might not realize this might be the only representation of black people these people even have.
Mm-hmm.
So like you might, like I can see if it would probably be different if I didn't, take some pride in who I am and where I come from.
Mm-hmm.
But like, man, there's so much shit I want to talk about on this. It's exhausting. It's exhausting.
That's what Jose said. It's exhausting.
Because one thing that like has kept me like around other cultures is the way they treat each other and the way they talk to each other.
Yeah.
It's like I don't feel threatened. I don't feel scared. I don't feel like worried or anything. Like is something gonna happen? Am I saying the right thing or the wrong thing? I love my family. I ain't gotta worry about that. But like there's not always a cultural connection between all of us. Like that's just really what it is. Like there's not always that connection there where we're like, yo, you my people. Like sometimes my people, we ain't, we're just not it. Like
that's the same thing here. Like, I love my family, but I'm sure Jaslyn love her family, but everybody ain't gonna click in the family. It's just, and maybe for the best, keep it over there. You know what I mean? I don't want to be proud and I don't want to be in drama. I can't come get you out of jail. I get none of them things, but keep you over there. But I love you. I love you. So, everybody has their problems. We all have problems, but I think we need to do a continuation of this where we actually bring a panel.
You should find some passport bros, some real ones. I'm gonna go online and see if I can find some.
Yeah, because I mean, like, I don't know anyone. I don't know some people. Hell, I got my passport. I don't know about other people, but just for them to talk. When I heard this, I was like, yo, so people like are really like this? Like, because some people I can't even convince them to get a driver's license. You talking about a passport? Like really?
Country.
I'm just saying. I'm just like, you go out your way. Getting a passport is not easy. But I'm like, okay, you go get a passport so you can go get some boontang in another country.
Exactly.
You can't even bring it back. So like, what's the point?
I don't know.
And you got to stay in the tourist areas.
We gotta stay in the tourist. Go in the other areas if you want to.
Yeah, you gotta go to the tourist area. You're not even tapped into the cultures or anything. So you gotta stay in the tourist area.
You're gonna mess around and find out.
Twice, 3 times as much.
You're gonna mess around and find out. And I hate to see all these things happening on the news where people are, people are getting killed in other countries and stuff like that. Okay, first and foremost, when you're an American, you got this bullseye on you because a lot of countries don't like us, unfortunately. But you can't go rambling in other people's country, bringing your stuff and think you're going to conform people to your will and need, or you're going to be missing. That's what's going to happen to you. You're going to wish you was back there on Broad Street with your friends and stuff like that, and your childhood friends. You're going to appreciate what you don't have. I don't understand, but, it's not for me to understand because, all of us, we have our little married partners. So, if you out there, do you just be safe.
That's how we end every argument with like, that ain't my problem though.
That ain't my problem. It's none of our problems in here.
Yeah.
But we're gonna have a panel on this. And Jaslyn, please, because you are fantastic, please work with me. Because if we can find a passport,
I think I could.
if we can find one, we're not hearing, like, even if you hear this and you are one and you want to bring us back to reality because you think we're not in touch of what you are, then, get in contact with us. But we're going to search for one, just one.
Mm.
We can find one.
And we're actually interested. This isn't like an attacking thing. I actually want to learn.
I do. I want to know.
That's bad stuff, but I'm like, there could be good things. This is stuff that's been going on for years. So
Yeah.
let me know. I mean, I'm already married, but like tell other people.
Sound like a plan. So if you find one, they contact you, CG, contact you, Jaslyn. Let's do this. Let's bring her back on, and we'll go, because I want a real passport person, not bro. I don't want a person that just get on the Amtrak. And
That's a real bro.
I want a real, like, you've been on the what's the flight that goes to Dubai?
That Emirates.
Yeah.
I can't even pronounce it. I'm so poor. Like,
yeah. That's what I want. I want you that you've been on there because you have been in Dubai because you set it up like that. Somebody like that. I want to hear.
You're gonna learn later. I'm gonna tell you what that means. A lot of people are connecting Dubai to bad stuff, Auntie. I'm gonna tell you later.
Are they? Oh, let me not say that then. Ooh, okay.
I'm gonna tell you later.
Okay. All right. Well, this was a good episode, fam. So, we'll see where it takes us when we get feedback and, do a part 2 with a panel.
Passport bro.
All right, y'all. So join us every Wednesday when we put out a new episode, and catch us on our social media pages. And joining me today is
Jaslyn.
Kim
CG.
and CG. All right. Have a good week on purpose, and we'll see you next week. Take care.